Spiritual states. I have Dr. Michael Sanilevich with me. Hello. I would like to ask you a few questions on the topic war of civilizations. You know, this you often hear this phrase in media, war of civilizations. As I understand, there are around 10 different civilizations, but I'd like to focus on two main ones. They're in constant conflict, the Western and East Asian Chinese civilizations. What do you understand by them? When you hear this, as a Kabbalist, there is some conflict, different values. What forces do you think are acting there? What happens between them? Dr. Laitman, actually, we don't see civilizations in general. There are, of course, there's India. This is a civilization by itself. China. But in general, it's very roughly, it's today impossible to see. We'll say East and West, the values of the East and West. How do you see these two forces? What characterizes them, these two civilizations? What characterizes them? The Western civilization is characterized by religious problems that they try to carry out, and the Western civilizations are more interested, deals more with problems with their existence, material existence. That's why the difference between them is rather big. In the West, in the Eastern civilization, there are people who want to follow their spiritual values, and they are prepared to fight for them. And the Western civilization desires to keep itself in the way it came to be, to such existence. And of course, between them, it's hard to establish a contact host. So there are two opposing forces. The great Kabbalist Dr. writes about this, the negative force, the positive force that have developed our material universe. If we speak of the human level, we also see there are forces of good and bad. Yes. There is reception and bestowal. I would like to ask to understand correctly that war between these two forces, it's a natural state of humanity. Dr. Laitman, yes, this is a natural state. We see that this comes from the construction of their soul, of the Eastern and the Western soul. And to what extent this will continue, we can't tell, but for now we see that this isn't about to end. Host, yes, we see the values that the West promotes, equality, fairness. They are less present in the Eastern civilization. Yes, they exist there, but in a special way. Dr. Laitman, yes, of course. Host, so, from the perspective of Kabbalah, we see that on the material level, there is an inanimate, vegetative, animal nature, there is some harmony. Otherwise, our world wouldn't exist. But on the level of human wars, just continue always. Throughout our history, we've always had wars, and it seems like it's always going to be like this. Is this our natural state? And why? Dr. Laitman, because we have the biggest ego in nature, and that's why it's natural. That war is our natural state. So, on the human level, if we speak of coming back to these two civilizations, this is a war of values. Yes, and what values do you see that are fighting between them, Dr. Laitman? Well, the values that exist in the Western part are values of their foundation, and the values that exist in the Western civilization are more corporeal, business-like. But this is very, very rough. But actually, the difference is very big, psychological, mental. The differences are big. So to say that these values are getting in our way and these values are bringing us together, we can't. Because there are concepts, good and evil. Are these abstract concepts? On the basis of what reference should we say that something is good or evil? Dr. Laitman, to the extent that as far as I understand, that good is what brings people to unity, to closeness, mutual help, and evil is everything that's opposite to it. But we see that there are big masses of people that unite, they're united between them, but they are waging war on someone else, a different part of population. It seems like they're doing good, and in terms of, from the perspective of the other part, it's evil. How can we tell, Dr. Laitman? We can't tell like this. So there's no reference point. No. They're both united, yes. Even in Judaism, it's written if the worst bandits are united, then between them there is a force, and you can't conquer this city. So this force of unity works on all levels, even if it's directed against someone else. Yes. So how to all in all. So it's impossible to tell who's got the good side in these categories. It's for the in the name of the general peace in the world. This needs special preparation, serious preparation, education, and for many years the possibility of bringing in this into the canvas, the general mass of the population. So this good needs to be for the good of the whole world and not just some part. Yes. In the sources it is said that the Creator, the upper force, as it is written in the Torah, he wages war on the evil forces. It is said he is a warrior. How to understand this? On whose side is the Creator on when two sides at war exist, and each from his own heart is praying for victory? So who's the Creator with? Dr. Laitman, the Creator isn't with anyone. He doesn't take part in these problems, even though he's causing them. But the thing is, but his goal is to bring humanity to understand its nature and do everything to correct it. So the person needs to identify himself as an absolute egoist. And from this, find the key to correct himself. May I say more specifically, now there is a war between Gaza and the State of Israel. And on both sides, I'm sure, all the people are praying. We are praying to win. They are praying, of course, to the Creator to win in this war. I would like to know the Creator is the upper force that's above everyone. How does it react to these prayers? As it is said, the Creator feels the prayer of every person in his heart, and I'm sure that on both sides, the prayer comes from both sides to win. As a Kabbalist, how do you know who the Creator is with? The Creator is with the one who's closer to him. And what does it mean, closer to him? What criteria are there? Criteria of good, of unity, desire to help others, those close to them or those far away from them, anyone. So we have to learn the qualities of the Creator and try to understand them, and then accept and make sure they have a place in our environment. As it is said that the force of the Creator is expressed in the nation, in the society that's in unity, that's more united, even if it has some egotistical goals and intentions. Yes. So if one people attacks another, if one is united and it attacks a different nation, there are many hotspots like this today. They're both united and they go one against the other. So who's the Creator with? And the Creator, because each one thinks that each one is fighting for freedom, for their families, and it is said that there's none else besides him. The Creator causes this. So who's the Creator with? Can we tell from the results, those that win, the Creator is with them? Maybe it's not always like this. What is it like? No, we also can't say this. We just have to learn the qualities of the Creator, His laws, and see to what extent we're close to them or not. And from this we'll understand who the Creator is with and how He guides the creation. So you say this is a science, you have to study it, otherwise you can't just say in this way. No, you can't.
Дальше. Баль-Сулям в статье «Мир в мире», есть у него такая статья.
Balsalam in the article Peace in the World says that everything that exists, whether good or bad or even the worst and most harmful in the world, has a right to exist. And no phenomenon needs to be eradicated from the world. We must only it's only upon us to correct this phenomenon. What does it mean to correct most negative phenomenon? Dr. Laitman, it's the ego, human ego, when a person wants to act only for his good. Host. So during a war we see these very negative phenomena. They are expressed very vividly. What does it mean not to destroy, but only to correct? Is there a way to correct these events? No, you can't. What does Baal Salam mean? Gradually we can bring ourselves to a state when we feel that all manifestations of the ego are evil, and everything that's anti-ego is good. And on the one hand, he says that we can't destroy any phenomenon. On the other hand, there is this principle in the Torah that when someone comes to kill you, you have to get up and kill them first. Yes. What does it mean to destroy and not correct? No, if someone's coming at you with weapons, you have to defend yourself and do do to them what they wanted to do to you. And this will be correction. And this will be correction, yes.
Кстати, интересно, что вот на иврите армия...
By the way, it's interesting that in Hebrew army, tzava, it's those that fight, wage war against the evil inclination. These are soldiers. And in Hebrew, tzava, it says tze and bo. Entrance and exit from the power of the evil inclination. When a person is fighting with it, then he enters and exits its power. Yes, this is called tzava, so army. Can we say that the process of work is called the process is important or the result is important? Well, the result is very important to us. The result is very important, but we have to understand why. The war happens, its cause, when it can stop, in what case it can win, and we have to, with all this, try to work correctly with all this. Hosts, the result of the war depends on the creator or on people? No, always on the creator. It depends on how our plans, desires match the creator's plans.
То есть может быть и поражение, но это...
So there can be a loss, a defeat, but this can move us forward. No, I don't think that then in that case there will be a defeat.
Мы говорили о войне со злым началом в каждом
We spoke about a war with the evil inclination in each person, and can we say that the same principles work in an external war? Yes. Yes, it's the same principles. So if a person wins in the war against evil inclination inside of himself, by that he can win a war that's expressed itself in the external world. Yes. Yes. Baal Sulam writes in his articles, in one of them, that there are states during a war when control is transferred to a destructive force, which manifests itself in the material world, and at that point nothing can be changed. We have to wait. It's impossible to correct. As he says, during the Second World War, during the Holocaust, when this force, the control is passed on to the destructive force. Dr. Laitman, it's a huge force of the Creator that he decides to use, and his actions, his upbringing of people, and then comes upon humanity bad conditions come down, and the Creator starts to act with humanity according to a strict law. So what he writes, that even prayers don't help. When this happened, when this force is passed on to this destructive force, before you could correct something, pray, change situation, but when this comes to manifest itself in the matter, it needs to stay for a while, and nothing can help. We've seen this in history. Yes. Or can we do something? Yes, it's possible to do something. You still have to do it, irrespective of the circumstances, but there are good times and bad times. Host, with regards to the person's correction, is there a difference when a person dies by natural death, or he's killed during a war? Of course there's a difference, but we can't understand it. We can't understand the reasons to which a person dies this way or another way, or this day or another day. And the war is always you always have animal fear during a war. Can we ascribe this to the Creator, connect this to the Creator, and how? If a person trains for a long time, if he thinks about this, if he understands this, if he desires to enter this, if he wants to connect to the Creator's opinion, then he gradually starts to understand what the Creator wants from him and how he can get closer to the Creator. Today, people spend a lot of time looking at military actions. People sit for hours and they have many everything is being recorded, they read comments and analysis. So even if a person isn't in these hotspots, it's like he's experiencing this multiple times a day, and many specialists, many experts say that it significantly affects people's mental well-being, while others claim that it helps people to see the truth, and thereby they can prevent their own aggression. What's your opinion? What would you recommend? Is it worth watching this, and to what extent? Dr. Laitman, I wouldn't recommend this to watch this, because this usually comes with these free commentary, and I would suggest people deal with the reason of wars, the reason of such attitude, of nature of the humans, and then people would gradually realize to what extent they're evil, bad creatures, and how this evil in each one can be corrected towards others, this evil towards others. When a person sees all these atrocities, how does this affect their psyche? Of course it affects it. Some specialists say that a person, when he gets this impression, he won't do these actions. No, we see that the world doesn't become better. The world doesn't become better. And there are others that say that this causes fears in them, some trauma, and you wouldn't recommend it. No, I don't recommend it. Okay.
Возможно ли только внутренние войны со злым началом без внешних проявлений?
Are inner wars possible without external wars? And if not, then why? Theoretically, they're possible wars that will only be in thought, the desire of the heart. But when we come to this, I don't know. We'll be able to come to this when we are confident that we create with our desires the place for wars and for all bad actions. Host, what does external war give people? No, not people, but the Creator, the upper guiding force. What is he leading humanity to? He affects humanity so that it realizes that realizes its lowliness of its efforts to correct the world. And the external war, can we say that it brings up the questions about the meaning of life? No, we can't say so. How many thousands of years we've been fighting, people have been fighting, it doesn't help them to realize the meaning of life. And what causes the meaning of these questions? What kind of events can cause these questions about meaning of life? I think this can only happen through soft, correct attempts to convince each other when we sit before each other and sit together and try to explain our points of view. It's some process of education, yes, but suffering doesn't cause these questions about meaning of life, no. What state in the in the war with Gaza would you call victory? What is victory for you? What kind of state? Inner state? A state when both sides raise their arms and decide not to fight anymore.
Многие говорят, что одной из причин войны стал раскол в израильском.
Many people say that one of the differences of the war was a breaking in the Israeli society that's been strengthening in the last year. What do you think? I also think so. Can we say that this is some punishment from above for our lack of unity? Yeah, we can say so. Or it's not connected. Yeah, it's connected.
Мы уже сегодня являемся свидетелями
Today we are witnessing of mutual accusations. Is there a danger of a civil war in Israel after dealing with the external enemies? And if so, how can we avoid it? I don't think that this is relevant now.
Вот цитата из книги Мауро Вешемеш, есть такая книга, одним каббалистом.
There's a quote from the book Maor Shemesh, written more than 200 years ago. The main protection against calamities is love and unity. And when there is love, unity and brotherhood among all of Israel, no calamity can come against them, and therefore all judgments are removed and mitigated, and mercy is revealed in the world. There are many sages that wrote about this, that say that the principle of unity has a supernatural effect on the outcome of the war. What do you think about this? Is there some supernatural force? Yes. We usually talk about the opinion of society, but actually it does affect the whole the course of events. How do you explain this phenomenon that many developed nations in the UN, when they vote, they support Hamas, the population of Gaza, even though Israel gave so much to the world and we didn't attack first? And it seems like it can't be explained with logic. It's something irrational. We're living in the 21st century, and how do we... And who, by the way, in the Western nations, the most progressive strata of society, they are the ones saying that we are exploiting these poor citizens of Gaza, even though we're not there anymore. But it doesn't matter. Their principles of equality and truth and fairness, it's as if they eclipse all facts that we see. I explain this very simply. The hatred that exists in Arabs towards Jews, it changes their perception. Okay, Arabs, that's not just them, but also the Western world. Yes, it also in antisemitism conceals all facts. Yes, it's inevitable. You can't avoid it. Only if we change ourselves, then from above, the Creator will change others.
То есть, в принципе, получается,
so it turns out that in general there won't be peace until people change their intention, their attitude to Jews, and this won't happen until Jews change. So anti-Semitism, it's like truly a law of nature. Yes, it acts like a law. On the physical level, there are laws. There are laws. It's the same way if Jews are not united, there are supernatural forces that all our facts, our proof, they don't have any foundation. Yes, because the reality we see, the state of Israel, you see that there are human rights here and stuff. Nobody wants to know anything about this. Okay, thank you very much, and until next time.